Welcome to Lunch with the Lord. I'm Pastor Mark. We are in 1 Peter chapter 2. We'll be finishing chapter 2, looking at verse 25 this lesson. But before we begin, Jeremiah 15:16. Thy words were found, and I did eat them. And thy word was unto me the joy and the rejoicing of my heart. Now, as we see here in verse 25, he says, For ye were as sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls. And he says here, for ye were as sheep going astray. And it's taken from Isaiah chapter 53 and in verse 6. And here Isaiah says, All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. And, because people have an old sin nature, they go astray. Before we came to Christ, we were astray from God. And God, through his love and his grace, showed us the right way, showed us his way, and we humbled ourselves and came to the cross and received Christ. And he says here, all we like sheep have gone astray. We were like sheep that were astray from God. There was a time in our life where we didn't know God, and we weren't interested in God, and we were out there in the world floating around in our life, exposed to all kinds of things, and yet God came and he found us, and we were like sheep. We had gone astray, and we were astray of our own doing. Believe me, the shepherd doesn't go to a sheep and say, "Can you go astray? Can you like wander away?" No, the shepherd wants the sheep in the fold. And so also, if we were astray, we did it of our own doing. Okay. And the thing is as we go astray from God, when we were astray from him, we were exposed to all the dangers of this world system. And this is what he's saying here is, for you are as sheep going astray, but are now returned. You are returned. And the Greek word here for return is in the passive voice, meaning that these straying sheep receive the action of returning to the shepherd. It's not like people say, sometimes you hear, well, I found God, right? Or I need to go and look for God. I want to find God. Well, where is he? Is he behind the door? Or is he in the woods somewhere? Is he up on a mountaintop? I mean, I didn't know God was lost, that we have to go find him somewhere, right? No, it's not that God is lost. It's that you were lost. You didn't find God. God found you. And by his love and his grace, he drew you to himself. And it's the same meaning. You have returned, and the Greek word for returned is passive, meaning you did not produce the action of saying, well, I think I need to find God today. Where is Jesus? I need to accept him into my heart. No, it wasn't you doing that. It was God coming to you and finding you and drawing you. Passive voice, you were drawn to God, all right? God found you by his love and grace and drew you to himself. And then he says here, but you are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your soul. Shepherd here means John chapter 10, verse 11, that Jesus Christ is the good shepherd. He is the good shepherd. And then he says, unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls. Now, the Greek word for bishop here is episkopos. Okay, episkopos actually is episkopos, and it's the same Greek word that we saw back in verse 12 for visitation. He says here, having your conversation honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify God in the day of what? In the day of visitation. Same Greek word, episkopos. Episkopos. It's the same Greek word. Here in verse 12, episkopos is translated visitation. But here in verse 25, the episkopos is translated bishop. All right? It means to oversee, to inspect, to observe something. God is intimately inspecting and overseeing every detail of our lives. So this is what he's saying is, for you were as sheep. Every one of us was as a sheep, going astray, going our own way, living our lives how we thought it should be lived, living our lives according to whatever, maybe the influences of our parents, grandparents, friends, or whatever. We lived our lives out in the world system, out into the dangers of this world system, away from God, away from the family of God. We lived our lives, and then God, through His grace and His mercy and His unconditional love, He drew us back to Himself, and we came to Christ. We gave our hearts to Christ, and we have returned unto the shepherd and to the overseer of our souls. And that's what it does here. Jesus is like a shepherd who leads his sheep to green pastures and protects them. But he is also a bishop who knows his sheep by their name, and he knows their tendencies and their hurts. If they need physical treatment or whatever they need, he knows them individually. It isn't a herd mentality. The relationship that God has with us isn't this herd mentality. But it's an individuality mentality where God loves each person individually for who they are and what God has made them to be. And again, God loves each person. So we have returned unto the shepherd, the good shepherd who leads us and guides us. And if we go astray, even as a sheep, if we go astray back into worldliness, he woos us and brings us back to the fold, to the family of God, to receive life and grace from him. To the bishop of our souls. All right, we're going to start chapter 3 next lesson. But until then, walk with the Lord. I know he walks with you.